Hey everybody, welcome to the Infinite Progression. Yes, the place where nightmare becomes reality. Yes, you know it well. For it is there lurking behind your eyeballs all the time. Anyway, yeah, guess what it's time for. Hey, it's the thing. It's that thing we do. Let's play this theme song nice and loud.
This has always been the theme song. This has always been the theme. This has always been the theme song. This has always been the theme.
All right, that was the theme song. That was the theme. Anyway, hey, this is Riff and Craft with your host, Rem Pemberton of the Clemson Pembertons. You know the one. And, oh, goodness gracious me. It's time for the mining of the crafts. Only I don't even have the game started properly. So you're going to have to give it a second. Anyway, regardless, it's Friday. It's that Friday infinite regression we looked at. It's that Friday Riff and Craft with Rem Pemberton of the Clemson Pembertons. So, it's going to be all good. It's going to be super duper. All right. So, we're going to play that multiplayer. Yeah, 0 out of 20. Thanks, everybody. Everybody was like, people were talking today. They were like, no, but seriously, play it. No, but seriously, why don't you play? I'm like, yeah, I haven't played on my server in a little bit. Like, I'm sorry. I've been working on other things. I had other things, had my mind on my money. Had my money on my mind. Just kidding. If I had my money on my mind, then I would have done the friggin' stupid reading programs that I have to do. Ugh. I'm talking about reading programs. Ugh. Like, our school be getting grants. But in order to get those grants from the government, we had to sign all the friggin' teachers up in a certified program. And that certified program had to be something that the government had already pre-approved. And so they chose this reading program and this other reading program, two reading programs, both of which written by the same woman. And she is an insane person who creates tests like someone who doesn't want someone to pass your tests because, you're not testing them on the knowledge. You're testing them on whether or not they can be persnickety and ridiculous. Anyway, regardless. Yeah, so I have two of those going that and I will get paid for completing those courses. But like it's work on top of my work that I already have to do. And if we break it down per hour of amount of work that it is so not freaking worth it. Like, oh, the life of a teacher. When they'd be like, you're going to get paid extra. And you're like, oh, sweet. And they're like, but you have to work for it. And you're like, oh, a little bit more? And they're like, no, a lot more. To the point where, like, if this were the salary for a teenager working at Mickey D's, they would quit. Like, that's how teachers get paid extra money. Like, okay, I give you a for example. Okay. So, a colleague of mine, lives the next town over. So he's already got a 45-minute drive home just to, 45 minutes just to get to school, 45 minutes to get home from school. That's a little bit of a hassle. I think we can all agree on that. And and then beyond that, like he has two sports that he coaches, and he tried to give one of them away this year so that he could not have to coach two sports that happened concurrently. And they were like, nah. And so he has to coach two sports at the same time that have practices at the same time every day after school. And for all of his work, he is paid an extra $2,000. Like, could you imagine, like, basically working somewhere in the neighborhood of an extra, like, it's pretty much an extra 2 hours per day on top of, the already well over 40 hours a week he already works, because we all know that teachers, like, that work comes home. Like, it does. It goes with you. Oh, I need to, like, drop some stuff off in the whatnots and the who's it, what's it's. Anyway. Oh, and it is the middle of the day. I can go up top and whatever the frick I was working on, I guess I can do. I don't remember what I was working on. Anyway, oh, I guess I should plant some sugar cane? Unless that's my spare sugar cane. I don't even remember. I don't remember what I was doing in this world. That makes me sad, but, things be what they are. Okay. Do need that diorite, though. Okay. That's andesite, and it's butt ugly. My God, is it butt ugly. Oh, I remember what I was going to do. I was going to get the black sheep and put it in the world's tiniest pen. Yeah. I think I can get rid of those seeds. Pretty sure. I can keep them pumpkin seeds. I may or may not need them. I don't know. We're going to find out. Andesite, dirt. Seems like I can get rid of those things. Okay. All right. Anyway, Zurier things and porpoises and whatnots. Let's go up top and find out. So, every now and again, I'm reminded how very different my content is from the professional content created on YouTube by people who take this seriously and are like, take me seriously, I wish to be famous. And, like, oh my God, don't. Oh, Kitty is up there, like, preparing to knock down all of my things. Hey, Kitty, come here. Okay, well then don't. You're, like, stepping on the router that is powering my ability to do what I'm doing right now. So maybe not that. Maybe somehow the opposite of that. I don't have an axe. Oh well, I've got a hand. Anyway, so yeah, I tell people all the time, they do not believe. Kitty, you gotta go back the way you came. People do not believe me when I tell them that, like, hey, okay, I gotta solve this kitty crisis. This kitty crisis is gonna make me cry. Okay. Hey, kitty, come here. Frick. We did it. We really, really did it. Okay, let's not run over this cable. All right, solved it. That was very good YouTube content, me staring up at a tree while you heard noises of a nondescript nature. Anyway, so yeah, haven't had that happen in a while. Freaking kitties getting on the windowsill, and what is directly in front of that windowsill? The router. And they've already, like, this antenna's gone all janky, and it's Kitty's fault. Like, luckily I'm hardwired to it, but still though. Anyway. Um yeah, that was I did is that did I plant it up all my sands? Is that all of my sandy beaches? I guess so. Anyway, uh so yeah, you are like if you're watching this right now, you are very well aware of the fact that this is not what YouTube is like. YouTube is for people to yell in your face. YouTube is for people to yell in your face and or squeeze their boobages together until they're popping out the top of their turtleneck and be like, I'm going to watch other people's videos and comment on them. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's insanity. Like, I don't get it and I don't like it. But you know what I do like? My own content. Why? Because I get to enjoy me enjoying things and remember that I've ever been happy in my entire life. So, that's pretty good, I guess. That's a pretty solid thing. And then sometimes other people see my videos and then they comment on them. And like, I legitimately have this one guy that comments on my videos a lot and seems to enjoy them. And I'm like, good for you, dude. Like, good for you. Like, I mean, legitimately good for you, but also it's kind of baffling because I cannot imagine other people liking my videos. And then, like, today this guy posted a, like, really mean comment on one of my videos. It was like, this isn't the genre you said it was. You're doing it wrong. And I'm like, yeah. First of all, you're like holding me to an arbitrary construct that is like not very old. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if these constructs were as old as the internet itself, they still would not be very old. And so this guy be like, but my understanding of how this construct works is not what you have presented. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm not doing this for you. Like, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. Like, you're all bent out of shape that someone didn't do a thing that only recently became a thing, that they didn't do the thing in the arbitrary way that other people who do a similar thing have said is a way to do a thing. Like, okay, I'm trying to decide what to do with this pen. I guess I'll tag it onto the backside of the other one. Anyway, like, it's stupid. It's like, because here's precisely what it was. And this is a thought that I've legitimately entertained. Okay, so when I do reviews, quote unquote reviews on my channel, they are technically Let's Plays because I'm just, putting in a game and playing it for the first time. But like, the difference between a review and a Let's Play, where I play a little bit of the game and then I put a score on it and say this is how much I enjoyed it, like an arbitrary number tied to my enjoyment of the game, like, that could technically be considered a review from the standpoint of it being me playing the game and then putting a number on it. But this guy was all bent out of shape about, like, man, that's not what it is, and you're YouTubing wrong, and you're a real, he called me swear words. And, like, and it's funny because, like, I don't do it for that guy. Like, But also, like, it kind of hurt my feelings because, like, he's insulting my intelligence. And I'm like, wait a minute. Having a stranger insult my intelligence over something that I have considered. I have considered whether or not I'm calling it the wrong thing. And then it was like, well, you know what? I'm going to call it what I call it because I'm not doing this for anybody else. Like, the fact that I spend any amount of time thinking about, like, the arbitrary terms by which we define concepts that are basically brand new and, like, really think about what we're doing. Like, in my lifetime, and this is not a lie, people do not believe this when I tell it to them, but it is factually accurate. You check with other people my age, they will be able to corroborate. Like, for a while, for a good long while, video games were for kids, and that's how they were viewed. And if you were a teenager or an adult, you did not play video games by and large. I mean, of course, there are always people who, buck that trend. But I'm just saying, like, people did not play video games into adulthood or even into, your teenage years when you are, quote unquote, supposed to be doing more grown up things, uh, chasing skirts and, try to make that happen. You know what I'm saying? You know, yeah, taxes. Anyway, no, it was like a whole thing. People were legitimately, like, honest to God, I kid you not, a friend of mine and I in high school were talking about, oh, I do have leads. I only need but one. Yeah, anyway, we were talking about the fact that or her. Wait, where was that guy? Was he back over here? I think he was back over here. Anyway, so yeah, we were talking about a video game that we had both played. This was in, like, I want to say, like, 1994, 1995, and big muscle bound jock type person was like, what are you guys, couple of children? Like, why are you doing kid stuff? Literally. Because you're knuckle dragging Neanderthal types did not begin playing video games until Madden really reached the masses, And of course there are exceptions to this, but I'm telling you that, like, it was not viewed as a sustainable thing for someone. Wish I could find more black sheep. Anyway, it was not viewed as a reasonable thing for a person my age. And at the time I was like 14, 15. But it was not reasonable for a person of that advanced age to be playing video games. And, things done had changed. They changed up quite a bit. And good. I'm glad they've changed. I'm not sitting here trying to be like, well, back in my day, this was how it was. And we didn't used to like that. And like, no, I'm not trying to play the back in my day and it was better than that sort of thing. Like, nah, I'm playing a game that did not and could not exist back in my day. So, yeah, happy that some things have changed. So, it's all good. Um. Anyway. Only one leather among all of you. Now I feel like a real jerk for having killed you all. Um. You know that feeling when you kill a bunch of things and you're just trying to get leather and you feel like a real jerk. Anyway. So, yeah. Um. So the concept of a review versus a let's play is not very old. It cannot be more than a decade old. Uh, and the distinction between the two is really arbitrary. And so for a person to get really upset with me and call me really hurtful things. Oh yeah, that's right. He upset about me rolling in the sweet dough for my YouTube channel. Yeah. No, and I do not understand this concept. You know, like one of the greatest cartoons ever made. You have more than likely seen it. The wife calling her husband to bed, and he's like, "I can't. Someone on the internet is wrong." It's like, yeah, people do be like that though. Like I remember. See, these are dark gray, and I need black. I need black sheepies. Anyway, but yeah, I remember people like I remember being very, very devoted to making sure that people on the internet were not wrong. I was never as hurtful or mean about it as the guy who be commenting on my video. But it's like, it's funny because that video is for a game that I purchased when I was doing my 99 cent, or not 99 cent, 49 cent Steam budget game roundup. So, you know, is the very end of the Steam sale, is the last day of the Steam sale. And I was like, I'm going to buy a bunch of games that are only 49 cents. And so I did. I bought a bunch of games that were only 49 cents. And that looked dark gray. We'll find out in the light. If he's perfectly black, I'll be like, son of a... Anyway. But yeah. So I... Oh yeah, so I played this game. It cost me 49 cents. I could not get it to show up properly in my OBS studio. Like, hold on. I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, sorry. Regardless. Okay. So, yeah, I purchased this game for 49 cents, not knowing that it was like a true cult classic of the RTS genre. And like apparently my video is one of only a few, like, because I just searched it on YouTube from another account, and mine was in the like top 5, which there is no circumstance under which one of my videos should be in the top 5 of anything on the U-type tubes. So yeah, color me baffled. But anyway, there we go. And I've got more black wool, yay. And this gray wool can go kick rocks for all I care. But yeah, I don't think my videos should be like, here's something you probably don't know if you are watching this and you're not me, is that when I do my video descriptions, I just go full non sequitur stream of consciousness mode. Like, I just put down random thoughts that pop into my head. Why? Because I am trying to make it so that my videos do not get picked up by the algorithm. Like, I really actually am. Because I literally am making these for me. And for the most part, that is a success. Like, not very many people watch my channel. Most of the people who do are students. Most of their viewing times are like less than a minute because they, you know, realize that it's basically just like class, only with, slight distraction from video games. Um, Emphasis on the slight. And that's it. And so they don't like it and they don't enjoy. Oh, I already had Birch and Fence. Dang it. Um, anyway, yeah, and that's fine. Like, I'm not making it for them. I'm making it for me. Yeah, exactly. My lovely wife just did a spot on Tim Curry impression from from Rocky Horror Picture Show. Because when Janet Weiss is like, I don't like guys with too many muscles, and he be all like, I didn't make him for you. Sorry, I intentionally. Oh, whoa. Wait, we've got a brownie cookie.
Yep.
A cookie made of brownies, or a brownie made of cookies? Shut up. It's a secret. Kids are not allowed to know. Anyway, it's Fridays, so we'd be having it's pizza night. You know how it be. Don't act like you don't know how it be. Anyway, so yes, I should just go get a lead and wander around a little bit and see if I can find another black sheep. Let's do that with this day of ours. Anyway, but yeah, in my video descriptions, they were all like stream of consciousness and non sequitur type of randomness, and not so that anyone will come across it and be like, that's a weird description for this video, because that would be the natural reaction. I'll just take all 6 leads, please. I'm very hopeful that I will find an entire herd of very black sheep. Anyway, so yeah, I go out of my way to try and be not only undiscovered, but undiscoverable. And that's how I do. So, yeah, if you're watching this and you're not me, first of all, congratulations. This is the place where I shout into the void. Oh, brown sheep, you're so cute. I run across that brown sheep all the time. I like his color. I like his attitude. He brings a good attitude. And speaking of attitude, yeah, what is this thing where people all the time be like, oh, someone that I don't know has engaged in active creation. I must, put it down and spontaneously hate on it and be like, grrr, if it does not conform to my standards of what things should be. Now, granted, like, I do hate on things from time to time, but I try only to hate on things of a professional type nature. Like, if you're doing something for a profession and it is not good, then you deserve to have people scrutinize it and be like, this is not good. I mean, people scrutinize me at my job all the time. I've been scrutinized up one side and down the other this week. And while I did not enjoy it, I understand that it is a very natural thing that happens. So, meh is my response. I'm not too upset about it. Wait, let's kill one of these bad boys and find out if we can indeed. Okay. Yeah, black dye. So I probably could dye a white sheep black. That's probably what we should do. That'd probably be easier. Wait, but how would you dye a white sheep? I've never dyed a sheep while they're just standing there. Let's find out if you can. Let's find a white sheep. That looks like a white sheep.
Look, chunks of clay. Go buy diamonds.
Yeah, I could, I guess, but I'm doing something else right now with my time. Okay, I gotta put this in my hand. Hey, sheep. How would you like to... Oh my god, it totally worked. I've never dyed sheep before, and so this is a major breakthrough in my life. Yeah, I know that, like... Okay. So YouTube started... Like, I used to never, ever, ever watch Minecraft videos. Which is why I generally know so very little about what other people do in Minecraft. It's why I'd never heard of a bastion or what was the other thing? I guess there are bastions and strongholds and wardens. Never heard of wardens. Ancient dirt things. Ancient dusties. No, what's the friggin' stuff called? I don't know. Anyway, regardless, I haven't heard of it because I don't know. I heard of things. Like, it's not my fault. Like, if you haven't heard of a thing, then either someone should do you the favor of educating you, or and this is upsetting to people sometimes, but there's a possibility, however remote, that whatever it is, that that bit of knowledge that you don't have, there's a possibility that that bit of knowledge is not that important. It's entirely possible. Like, it's happened before. There are things that are not really worth knowing. I mean, that's how I feel about it. There are things that I do not know because I don't feel like they're worth knowing. I guarantee you there are things that I know that you're like, why would you know that? There are lots of things that I know that when I share that information with people, they are like, why do you know this? And I'm like, because I try to acquire knowledge in my brain. And they're like, yeah, that I understand acquire knowledge, but this particular bit of knowledge, not important, not helping life, not making anything better. Oh, there's some guys ripe for murder. Hey, have you ever considered getting murdered? I'm here to murder you. Wait. Anyway, yeah, I'm sorry about the murder, but like half the time y'all guys murder yourselves. Like, you just swim into things that you shouldn't swim into, and then like self-murder, self-dead yourself is what you do. They'd be making themselves unalive and whatnot. But I think okay, so this week we had about 9 billion freaking instances of, because I run the GSA. I may have mentioned it before a time or two. But yes, the Gay Straight Alliance trying to make a safe place for the LGBTQ kids. And it's funny because, like, number one is that I've had multiple students opine to my face and say, well, I think that some people are coming out as LGBTQ because it's cool. And to that, I'm like, all right, you feel about that however you like. Like, you know, it doesn't mean that you should treat people any differently. Like, people are still people deserving of dignity and respect. You know, all human beings should be given a certain level of dignity and respect, unless they are members of the singing group, the Black Eyed Peas, in which case we need to stomp them. We need to stomp on them until they stop doing what they've been doing. Just kidding. I mean, I really hate their music, but like, I do not actually openly call for their extinction, except in cases where people know that I'm kidding about it, because, you know, I am mostly kidding about it. I mean, I'm not kidding about not enjoying their music at all, but because I don't, like, I think it's terrible, but like, I also understand that, like, there are people who have ventured forth on a creative endeavor, and they are much more popular in their creative endeavor than I have ever been or could ever hope to be in any of my creative endeavors. And that's fine. Like, that's just, people have different tastes in things. It's all very normal. You know, nobody's upset about it. Like, I mean, I may act like I'm all mad about it, but like, really, how mad could I be? It's just, you know, some people liking different music than me. Like, oh no, that's the worst thing ever. I can't imagine. Oh my God. Like, honestly, when that is something that you have time to worry about, like, there are people out there and they don't like the same music as me, like, then just thank your lucky friggin' stars that your life is so good that that is a thing that you have time to worry about. Like, it's true. It's true. You know, so like, I mentioned in another video today, a student, like, I was playing 80s music that is both happy and sad at the same time. You know, that like, I think a great example of this is if you listen to Please, Please Let Me Get What I Want. Great, please, 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 please let me get what I want. Anyway, you know the song. Because, yeah, when you sing the like he's had, it could make a good man turn bad. So please let him get what he wants this time. Anyway, so yeah, like, I was playing stuff like that, and, you know, really enjoying myself, and a student was like, skip. And I'm like, but wait, I'm listening to this, and other people in the classroom were like, I'm actually enjoying this. And I'm like, yeah, people are enjoying this. Like,
So,
we're working independently, and so, okay, you're gonna appear in my video. This is my daughter. She's now in the video.
So, like, about the enrichment class that we take every Friday.
The enrichment class on Friday.
I got, because I joined freehand drawing.
Freehand drawing.
But the thing is that I don't think I was officially signed up for it.
Ooh,
So
not signed up.
I've just been going to the freehand drawing enrichment without even having
Oh,
enrichment.
oh no.
I have a history of being ignored by the school faculty.
Oh my goodness, this child of ours. This silly goose. What she is.
One time I avoided turning
Turning in homework? Yeah, we're upset about that.
turning in homework,
Boo.
but,
Boo. You have teacher parents. You can't not turn in
returning
homework.
a library book.
Oh my god.
I
Always turn in I used to be a librarian. I am a teacher. I used to be a librarian. You're hitting me on all fronts, girl.
One time I evaded turning in a school library book for almost half a year.
This girl is just making me sad.
It's basically just
Thievery? Yeah.
no, it's elementary school tax evasion.
Oh my god. I am not raising you to be like Wesley Snipes in real life. I am raising you to be like Wesley Snipes in Tu Wong Fu. Okay, now look.
Your daughter just used evade and tax evasion
Yes.
in the same 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm aware. I'm aware that this child is my child. For sure.
So possibly not
Back to the lecture at hand. Perfection is perfected. Okay.
for the past 7 weeks.
7 weeks. This child.
Next week you may want to just check in with the office that I'm signed up for that because yeah.
Okay, are you going to get in trouble?
Yeah, is there a possibility that anyone could yell at me over your nefarious scheme to get free enrichment?
I don't think so.
Because
Does your enrichment teacher take roll?
N-
No.
know this, okay?
How many kids are in your enrichment class?
I don't know. You sort of just show up to it like no one's keeping track of who goes.
Well, then no one's keeping track of who goes. It's probably
There might
fine.
be, like several other people that are also not signed up for it, but just go anyways.
And the teacher is probably like, oh my god, I have people showing up for this. Thank goodness. Like,
But like the teacher earlier was like skeptical that because he asked me in like a slightly stern voice, like, are you
Ooh.
even in this class? And then I'm like, yes. I've been showing up here for the past 7 weeks.
So you're that one in Mean Girls who, oh my god.
I am or not.
Every now and again, I remember that someday I will get to watch Mean Girls with my daughter, assuming that sometime between now and whenever we watch Mean Girls, which will probably be in the next couple of years, that she would need the ability to sit through a feature film.
Yeah.
But she ain't got that kind of attention span.
Because like
She's a kid in 2021. She doesn't have that kind of attention span.
I showed up out of the pity of my teacher for me not getting the enrichment that I wanted because all my friends were there and it's my favorite subject. So
Yeah.
she just let me go to that enrichment even
Oh.
though I wasn't officially signed up.
Well, then you could ask the teacher that like let you go to that.
Or
enrichment
like
class.
just keep the status quo a going, cause like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like honestly, like okay, if you go like okay, look, here's the thing. We have clubs at the high school. Okay? We have club signups. And people have to sign up in the club sign up time. If they miss club sign up day, they do not get to sign up for a club, which is a weird, arbitrary rule, but it is the rule. But every freaking year, I get people who are like, I wasn't there on the day when club signups happened, and I want to be in your club. And I'd be like, just come. is my official
I'm
stance.
not stopping you.
Yeah, just come. Like, I want people to be in my club. I want people to want to be in my club. So come to my club because I want people who want to be in it to be in it.
Here's the important thing, Leah. Is there somebody on campus that knows where you are during enrichment time?
Does your teacher who releases you to enrichment know which enrichment you are going to?
Yeah.
Then you're
Well,
fine.
then you're fine. Yeah, don't be eyeballing that toilet bowl because who gives a crap? Like I'm pretty sure that is how that goes. Anyway,
But did you feel unwelcomed by the teacher that teaches that class?
or did you feel unwelcome by a universe that shuns people who don't sign up properly? Well, here's a fun fact. The universe is generally unaware of your existence and will do nothing to help you in your continued existence. As a matter of fact, most of the universe is uninhabitable for persons like yourself. The universe doesn't appear to know about you and does not appear to have been created with you in mind.
But your parents do. And
Your parents do, and we love you, but like, you know, in the meantime, if you have a thing that's making you happy and it's not causing any problems, like, freaking do it. Like, whatever. Oh my God, Creeper. You, freaking creepers. You be like, I'm gonna leave you alone for a second, sheep, and Creeper be like, I am going to spawn inside your sheep pen. Wait, is he inside or outside?
get a grade for enrichment.
No.
Okay. So it's not going to show up on a progress report. That's like one thing that's important about school. The other thing that's important about school is that people know where you are.
Okay, come here,
Because
stupid.
the school is accountable for your health and well-being. And so if you are missing, the school needs to be concerned. But if your teacher who releases you to go to enrichment knows where you are,
There we go.
then okay.
It's fine. It's no for worries. Okay. Anyway, this is fun. Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, I've been talking about internet haters and whatnot. I don't remember what I was talking. Oh, yeah. So I played this game that I bought for 49 cents on Steam without realizing that it was a true cult classic of its genre. And it seems like a super cool game. And it really made me upset that I couldn't make a good video about it. And I mean, good video by my standards, which is a far, far, far under par video for anyone who, like, takes this seriously. And, you know, spend any amount of time watching my videos and you will understand that, like, you know, I take it seriously in the sense that I want to be able to enjoy looking back on it. That's it. That is literally it. Like, if I can enjoy looking back on the content that I've made, then that's all I care about. And so, and it shows in my work. You know, because I make videos, like, I make funny ones that are only funny to me. I make long, rambly videos that are only going to seem of consequence to me. And, yeah, I had one student. Okay, so I had one student who ever made it through one of my long, rambly Minecraft videos like this one. It was like well over 2 hours, and everyone in the class, when he was like, oh my God, I watched one of your videos all the way through, everyone in the class was like, why? What are you doing? You need to get your life in order. And I was like, yeah, you not wrong, class. Everyone look at this guy because he is officially a doofus who is wasting. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't call him a doofus. I called him a dingus. No. Regardless. No, a bunch of people were like, you have a YouTube channel? And I was like, well, imagine me ranting like I do in class sometimes, only while playing Minecraft. And people were like, pass. And I was like, yeah, exactly. That should be your attitude. Like, thank you. God, it's not for you. Anyway, but if anyone derives any amount of pleasure from these, like, good, okay, whatever. But it's funny because, like, when it comes to haters, it's like this guy watched me make a video that, like, it didn't turn out very well, and I was frustrated by it not turning out very well. But I also, like, I have other videos that didn't turn out well. My review of Bionic Commando is like me just trying to run the game and failing because the game will not run. And so, like, it was very upsetting to me because I really, really just wanted to play the game. And that's all I wanted to do. And I couldn't because, like, it just was not capable of running on my machine, which is, you know, brand new and, you know, full of all kinds of RTX capable goodness. So, like, there's no situation under which, like, the game should be unplayable on my machine, except it was, and I was very not thrilled about it. So, like, you know, anyway, I made the best video that I could, and I even enjoyed the game. You know, it's a cult classic, and I enjoyed it, and said that it was good, and said that I liked it, and then a guy was like, you don't know what you're doing. This isn't a review, this is a let's play. And I'm like, but I'm like, yeah, that's an arbitrary distinction of things that only existed for the last, like, 10 minutes. So, like, can we all calm the frick down and stop acting like I've done some terrible thing here, you know? Like you didn't use the internet correctly. All right. Well, then don't watch my video. Like, don't. Like, I tell you not to in most of my videos. I tell you not to watch my videos. Because if you've seen my videos, that is a common feature. Me being like, why are you watching this? Please go watch something else. Get your life in order. I say things like that constantly. And so the idea that anyone would be like, you videoed wrong and I hate it. It's like, well, but I didn't make it for you. And, you know, if you didn't like it, there's like half a dozen other ones that are much better. Much, much better. Like, just the fact that they have, like, title cards and stuff. Like, the kind of stuff that I just refuse to make because my approach to my channel is that it needs to take as little time as possible. Because I have a life, you know? Like, I do. I have a full-time job. And it's one of them full-time jobs that takes up a butt ton of time outside of the time that I'm actually physically doing it in the 9-to-5 sense. Like, all of the planning and all of the grading and all of the running multiple clubs, so staying after school multiple times a week just to run those clubs and all that stuff. And then, you know, like, I make a video for a game that I purchased for less than 50 cents. And someone is upset about it. And it's like, what are we even doing? And, like, I'm not upset with a guy who didn't like my video as much as I am upset with a concept that, like, I realized I was like, you know, I'm probably lucky that I don't get more viewers because the internet is known for being full of haters, of just people, like the first person to comment on a video is like first, and then the second person to comment on it is like your mom gay, and that's like it. That's it's just immediately goes toxic in so many videos. And that's why like I've spent a lot of time trying to like the channels that I really really like are there are communities of people who just really really care about what it is that they do, and then like the community surrounding those videos is people who really care about the content that's being created. They really care about the concepts being talked about. They care about they just care about what's happening in the videos, and so they create these just vast bastions of positivity, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing to have in the world. And especially like bringing together people from all over the world who don't know each other. Like, I look at Winter Gatan and, him trying to build this marble machine, and it's a huge, huge engineering hurdle that is taking some of the, unpaid for, freely given, freely offered best work of some brilliant, brilliant minds who could be doing other things, but they choose to help this man that they've never met make a machine that they care about just because they like the music that the other one made, And so, or they truly believe in the idea of making music with, a machine that drops marbles onto vibraphones and bass guitar strings and drums and such not. Like, it's ridiculous, first of all, that such a thing would even exist. I mean, when you consider that, like, the vast improbability that any of us would exist in the first place. Like, we don't need to exist as a species. Like, we are superfluous as all get out. Like, our very existence is not a necessity. And that is our existence, the existence of us as a species. You look at the history of species on this planet, and you find a history of extinction after extinction after extinction. And that is just the nature of the beast, that the vast majority of species who have lived on this planet could not make it happen for the long term. That's just an unfortunate set of circumstances. Is true. And so, yeah, most species couldn't make it in the long run. And that's, feel about that however you want. But the fact that human beings are even here is crazy in and of itself. But we're here, and we have invented through our, sheer force of will and great desire to waste time in creative ways, we have created the concept of video games, and the toxicity surrounding video games on the internet, and what I mean, where people are just bitter and shallow and cruel to each other over something that we created to make us happy and to pass the time before our interminable, or before our unavoidable, seemingly interminable, but actually quite terminable, but before our unavoidable demise. We are lucky to exist at all. And the fact that we do exist is amazing, and we should be more overjoyed that we do exist on a more regular basis. But like, we exist, and then we've done this amazing thing where we've used our brains to invent to figure out ways to harness electricity, and then figure out ways to build circuits to use that electricity in effective ways, and then to make those circuits smaller and more powerful and smaller and more powerful again, and over and over and over, until we have computers, until we have consoles, until we have games that we can play. This is what we have done simply to amuse ourselves, and Heidegger would have been very opposed to what I am doing right now. He would have seen it as a futile pastime that is only distracting me from the inevitability of my own death, to which I would say, yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, Heidegger, I see you. I see what you're doing. Yeah, that you called it. You called it, bro. Excellent job. Yeah. Our daughter is very much obsessed with Spooky Month. Yes, if you're going to buy merchandise based off of internet fads, it's always going to be expensive. That's why, like, people who have those one anus hoodies, like, the secondary market for a one anus hoodie is insane. Anyway, regardless. But yeah, so we've created this thing where we are all alive and we are all doing things to while away the hours before our own inevitable demise. We all have one life to live, and we all have a finite number of things that we can do within it. Most of us will not live lives of great consequence. Is a hilarious thing to think about, because we as individuals, especially as Americans, like, we all think that we are incredibly important, and that our every waking thought is very important. And the fact that I catalog these thoughts at all by putting them down and recording them and storing them on a place where they can be publicly accessed means that I am just as full of it as anyone else. I am not immune to the concept that I'm talking about here. But yeah, we have this thing where we're all like, no, I am important. And yet, our lives are so very brief and are here and gone. And, while we are here, we all take ourselves incredibly seriously, as if it matters. Because, let me go on a side tangent that's going to seem like it's not at all related, but is in fact quite related. So one of the dumbest things going is the business of telling people what their past lives were. Because anything where you can make money by making unfalsifiable claims, that is a racket to be in. Get yourself into a racket where you can tell people what their future is going to be, and then they can turn it into a self-fulfilling prophecy, or turn it into a post-diction where, looking back over the things that happened to them, they bend what you said in order to fit the events, or bend their interpretation of events to fit what you said, one or the other. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, you're a genius. You actually can tell the future. And you're like, yes, I made vague statements about your future, and you have believed that I am some sort of soothsayer. Give me more money. And these people use the same techniques that stage magicians use. Why you think Harry Houdini spent so much of the later years of his life busting up this nonsense, because he immediately recognized, he's like, wait, I've done that trick. Hell, I invented that trick. You owe me money. Like, and so, yeah, anybody that is doing any sort of, unfalsifiable claim, something that you can't prove that they can't actually do it. Like, okay, hey, you listening to this right now? I can speak to the dead, and whichever relative of yours died most recently, they are coming through very strongly to me right now. And I am actually, it's insane. This year, I don't even think I told my lovely wife this. So I actually did a cold read in class. Like, in my honors class, I was like, okay, I'm getting an M. Has anyone lost a loved one whose name begins with the letter M? And someone's like, yeah, my grandma Mary. And I'm like, yes, Mary. I'm getting Mary coming through quite strongly. And I actually had students who were like, oh my God, he can talk to dead people. No, I can't. I took no money because I was faking it, just like everybody else who does it, except for I am honest enough to not take your money when I pretend to talk to your dead relatives. So yeah, because like, how would you know if they were lying? How would you know? So if you can't prove that they are not lying, then maybe you shouldn't pay them fantastical amounts of money, because some of these people be like, a lot of these readings start at like $200 and go up very steeply from there to where you could be paying thousands of dollars for someone to lie to your face and use techniques that stage magicians have been using for centuries. Except for stage magicians are in a very honest profession in which they are not saying like, I can do actual magic. They are saying, I can trick you into thinking that this is really happening. And when your brain goes like, oh my God, it looks like they're floating, you're like, oh, how'd they do that? You don't ever think for a moment. You say, how'd they do that? Because you're thinking of like, what is it, a crane? Is there some sort of super strong invisible wire that I've never heard about? That's where your brain goes. You don't think like, I wonder if they're in league with Satan, like, I wonder if they have special magical powers that regular humans don't have. You never think that when you're watching like Penn and Teller. You don't. You think, oh, that's a crazy trick. I wonder how they pulled that off. And so that's why it's a much more honest profession than these frauds and these shysters. Now, the people who tell you who you were in a past life, okay, this is some bullcrapitude, because do you have any idea how many Cleopatras there have been in past lives? Like, honest to God, millions of women across the world and throughout time, throughout the history of people getting ripped off by people claiming to be able to tell you who you were in a past life. Yeah, they just, millions of women have been told you were Cleopatra, and they're like, oh my God, my life has such meaning now. No, it doesn't. Like, and the funny thing is that what they never do is say that like you were a victim of the bubonic plague who died before the age of 10. They don't say things like that, even though that is true of way more people. I'm not saying past lives exist. I'm saying like more people on this planet in terms of actual existence have been, children who died of horrific diseases due to a lack of knowledge of medicine than have ever been Cleopatra. Because according to my calculations, the germ theory of medicine is relatively new, and Cleopatra, there was just one of those. So, like, millions of people in Europe died of the bubonic plague. How many of them were children? At least hundreds of thousands. So, yeah, there you go. So why are there so many more Cleopatras than there are children who died of the bubonic plague? Why? Oh, could it be that people are making things up to take your money? Yes. Yes, that precisely. Yeah, that is a whole thing. Anyway, regardless. Now how was I going to tie that back in? Come on, brain. Get with it. Because I was going to tie that back in because we were talking about, like, it's talking about creative endeavors, it's talking about people hating. Oh, yeah. Like, so we all have one life to live. We all have, an opportunity to give that life meaning. Now, people can go in for all kinds of things that are fake, that are fraudulent, that are not real, and use them to give their life meaning. And guess what? Here's a fun thing. Let's throw religion into the blender for just a second, because there are over 2,000 concepts of God on the planet right now. And that is not saying that, Mormons have a different concept of God than evangelicals. That is saying, like, these are people who believe in Jesus. That is one. So there are 2,000 others currently on the planet. And most of them, like a lot of them, you going to hell. Like, nobody worries about going to hell in religions that they've never heard of. But, like, if we're being really honest about the concept, like, maybe you should. Maybe you should be worried about the ones you haven't heard of more than you are about the ones you have heard of. And coincidentally, like, consider this possibility. Here's a fun fact that I'll just throw around and you feel about it however you want. If you are a believing Christian type person, first of all, congratulations on winning so hard at life right now. Winning so hard that religions which predate yours by thousands of years still use your calendar. Like, is true. That's how hard you're winning, because it is the year like 5,783 in the Jewish calendar, and it is a similarly much longer year, much older date in Buddhism. And so I don't know the year in Buddhism. Every time I look it up, I forget what it is. Anyway, I don't have a long memory for Buddhist calendar dates because I don't use it very much. And knowledge unused is knowledge lost. Anyway, so wait, I got 8 from that. I forgot to look. Anyway, so the fun thing is that most people, in terms of religious affiliation, will stay with a religion that their parents were raised in. And, well, no, they will stay in the religion that their parents raised them in. And their parents will have most likely stayed in the religion that they were raised in. Of course, there is some missionization. That's how religions get around. And so, at least some of the people do have to change religions in order for new ones to spring up. But the fun thing is that when new religions spring up, everybody from the old religions looks at the new ones and is like, you have to be out your dang mind. Like, I actually heard someone say one time as an explanation for why Mormonism can't possibly be true. And they're like, it's too new. Like, religions can't be true if they're new. They have to be old. Like, well, I don't know that I can argue with that logic. Anyway, regardless, the thing of it is that most people will stay in the religion that their parents raised them in, if their parents are at all religious. If your parents are not religious, the chances of you becoming religious are fairly slim. So, take it all, think about it, shake it up, know what it is. Um, and so the funny thing is, when I force people to consider, as I very often do, that if you were born to Muslim parents in a Muslim country, which millions of babies are each year, then you will be raised to believe that Islam is the one true faith, that the Quran is the one and only final true word of God, as revealed to his prophet Muhammad. And you will just believe these things to be absolutely true, and not just absolutely true, but the things which make the most sense out of all the things. Because this is the worldview that you have been given, that you've been taught to adopt, that you have taken on from an early age, and it will make sense to you, and you will accept it, and you will believe it, and you will believe it every bit as much as a believing Christian believes in their beliefs, or every bit as much as a believing Jew believes in their beliefs, or every bit as much as a believing Buddhist, and on and on and on. And so the interesting thing is that, and I go back to a great quote from Mark Twain, which is, the ease with which I dismiss the religious beliefs of others gives me pause over my own. Meaning that most people of a religious type bent will not spend any amount of time being like, okay, but am I going to Muslim hell for real? Like, because I don't want to go to Muslim hell. Like, they don't think about that. They think about trying to not go to hell in the tradition that they were raised in. Now, granted, there are many religions that do not have that type of afterlife concept, obviously. But if, even if we're talking about Buddhism, being reborn with bad karma, with bad karmic effects, your life will be significantly worse in the next iteration if you have done badly. And so there is still a pull to do well, but do well in a very Buddhist sense, not just do well in general, but do well in this, because things that Buddhists must do in order to do well include, the feeding and the clothing of the Sangha, the feeding and the clothing of the monks, because the monks do not take care of themselves. They beg for sustenance, and the laity provides them what they need. And, so, yeah, this whole system, this whole idea that, you are born into a way of believing, and you accept it because it is the way of believing that you have been brought up into. I do not, I do not wish anyone ill simply because of the belief systems that they have, because, I have belief systems of my own, which at the end of the day might be equally false to anyone else's. So if I go around saying, oh, well, yours is false because ha 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 ha, mine might also be equally false. And I have been wrong about my belief system before, and it is entirely possible that I am wrong about my belief system now. It is entirely possible that I will be wrong about it in the future. Now, you take all of this, nonsense, and you look at a human being who has a finite amount of time to spend on this earth, and you say, okay, what the frick are you doing? And they're like, I don't know, I'm going to play video games some of the time, and I might record myself doing it, and I'll put it up, and then at the end of me playing the video game, I'll like put up a picture and say how much I enjoyed playing that video game or not. And I'll do this mostly for myself. And then another human being who's like, I want to access videos of a very specific type, goes to the service where the other person has uploaded their content, sees their content, and is like, you have done bad and you should feel bad. And I'm going to lob insults at you and make you feel bad for what you have done. And it's crazy. It's crazy. Because these are two people in this exchange who it is unlikely that they would have ever existed ever, you know, to all outward appearances. The universe did not plan for or prepare for or take great care when the existence of these two persons came about. The universe just seemed to not really give a crap about these two individuals when they came into existence. And throughout their lives, the universe seemed to be like, I am vast and ever expanding, and most of me is uninhabitable by people like these two who one of them did a thing and the other one didn't like the thing and was like, boo, the thing that you did was bad. Goodness, you know, it really begs the question, like, why do we do the things that we do? Now, granted, look, I could tell you whatever your belief systems are, if they are not the same as mine, I can probably give you reasons why I do not take on your belief systems, you know. But if your belief systems are different from mine, which they very likely are, then you could probably give me reasons why you do not take on my belief systems. And at the end of the day, meh, because as far as any of us knows, we are alive but once, one time, one trip, one ride on this crazy blue speck that is hurtling through the vast void, a vast void that seems to have no interest in creating, habitable climes for persons such as you and I. None whatsoever. We are awash in a violent sea that does not care if we live or die. And quite frankly, will see to our death. Will make it happen. Will make it sure, whether we like it or not. So yeah. And in this incredibly temporary existence of ours, some of us own video games, and some of us play those video games for our own enjoyment, not for anyone else's enjoyment. And we might post content of us playing said video games and being like, hey everybody, welcome to the Infinite Regression. This is me reviewing a video game. And like, you know, maybe that review that I did didn't come out as well as I wanted it to. But when another person sees it and is like, you suck and I hate you, it really makes you wonder, like, okay, you have the same finite lifetime that I have. Like, even if I get hit by a truck today and you live to a ripe old age, it is essentially the same. In the eyes of the great vast universe and the incredibly lengthy amounts of time that the universe has been in existence, the lifetime of either of us, whether or not I get hit by a truck and you live to be the oldest man in the world, it is inconsequential. Both of our lives are stupidly short. In the long view of the existence of all that is. And so, like, now remember, I am the worst living example of my own ideas. always have been, always will continue to be. Because I definitely hate on things. I am a primo hater. And have been for a number of years. Ugg boots, freaking hate them. Think they look stupid and terrible. And my God, these freaking boots have been around for entirely too long, and I freaking want it to stop, but it never stops because the universe, as we've discussed, does not care about my existence and does not have any interest in making it more comfortable, which, you know, getting rid of those freaking Ugg boots would make it a lot more comfortable. Oh, but I hear you say, they're so comfy. Oh my God. Like, they look dorky and dumb, and I hate them. I don't even have a rational explanation. I just really, really hate them. I can't even wrap my own brain around why my own brain hates them so very much. You know, who hurt me that I hate Ugg boots this much? I don't know the answer to that question, but it's a solid question. And I thank you for asking it. Anyway, yes. So I am very often the worst missionary for my own ideas.
You two
Oh,
guys, it's time to go brush
it's time to go brush teeth. Time has flown. Indeed. My God, time has flown. And it is bedtime for children. And party time for adults. Woohoo! When the kids go to bed, the adults get to party. Anyway, probably they party. I don't know. So, yeah, like, when I look at it in the long view, like, first of all, it does not matter that someone didn't like a video of mine. My videos are not to be liked by anyone who is not me. If you watch one of my videos and you like it and you're not me, congratulations. You are an interesting person because you have defied the odds. Because, you know, the way that I put these videos together, I mentioned before, like, I have a full-time job, and it's a more than full-time job. And then I have a wife, I have children, you know, I have a life outside of my job, and I have a life outside of me making videos on the internet, believe it or not. And the fact is that I do this for one reason and one reason only, because I actually enjoy it. And actually, my lovely wife pointed out that when I play Minecraft, I tend to unpack my own thoughts in an almost journaling type of way, which is, you know, very psychologically healthy. And as someone who has, you know, known mental health issues, it's probably a good idea that I do things like this. So meh. If you don't like my videos, I'm just trying to make it through life same as you. Like, you don't have to like my videos. And yes, I will hate on things, irrationally so. And so maybe someone will come across one of my videos and just be like, I don't even know why, but I need this man to feel bad for what he has done. You know? And first of all, I don't feel bad for what I've done, so meh. But also, it's so very strange that two people who exist on the same planet and have seemingly nothing to do with each other than a shared interest in a pastime that is created only to while away the hours between, you know, the pain of our existence, the unbearable dukkha that confronts us with every waking moment, and the inevitability of our own death. Like, and so when placed in this situation and considering the possibility, oh yeah, I knew that there were going to be some diamonds because of that lapis. Yeah, knew. because lapis indicates diamonds coming up. I don't know exactly how it works, but I watched a video on it once because they're like, lapis is the most effective block. And guess what? Like, the videos that come up in my YouTube feed now, because they're like, you make Minecraft videos, you should probably watch some and learn how people make them. Yeah, I can't believe how great some of these videos are. Like, the production values of, you know, some of these, like, even just amateurs, not even people who have millions of followers, people who really pour time into their craft. Like, good for you, people. Like, no, and I'm not saying this facetiously or like mean-spiritedly. Like, I have made my decisions about me having a YouTube channel. Like, I know that I can't have a YouTube channel of a certain type because it takes too much time and effort to make it. So I don't have a YouTube channel of the type that takes a long time to make my videos. I can't. I just can't. I won't allow myself to, but also it's, you know, darn near impossible for me to do that and also be good at my job and also be a parent who is at all present in the lives of his children. So yeah, I made my choices and I am 100% comfortable with them. And I don't feel that I need to really justify them, except for I'm sitting here justifying them to no one at all because no one's going to watch this other than me. Really, I'm just trying to make myself feel better because, like, that guy really got to me because, like, he was voicing opinions that I have about my own videos that I'm like, what if someone were to watch this and they're trying to actually, because, you know, I will tell you, like, okay, in the same way that, you know, the, those of us who are fans of the band, and if you know the band, kudos to you. The band is they're one of my favorite bands ever. And they do a beautiful thing, and it's like I love that they exist, or that they existed. Most of them are now dead. We're down to like who we got left: Garth Hudson and Robbie Robertson. I think is all that's left of one of the greatest bands ever to walk the face of the earth. It was largely Kitty Do Not Walk on My Keyboard. Okay, we crisis averted. Anyway, but yeah, one of the greatest bands ever on the face of the earth. A band that other big bands that you have heard of and that you do know a little bit better than the band, the Beatles, you know, the Beach Boys, the Rolling Stones, you know, major bands of the same time period. Bob Dylan, you know, this was the band. They played with Bob Dylan. They were his backup band for a while. Anyway, regardless. So the band, one of the greatest bands ever, they had the great fortune of knowing when they were going to call it quits, knowing when they were going to hang it up. And so they did in grand fashion. They brought out, like, and you really, really should watch this concert. Like, you really should. It's called The Last Waltz. And they played a series of concerts that were to be their final concerts together as a band. And they pretty much were. I mean, later on in like 1992, they released another album, but they did it without Levon Helm, I think, was not involved in that one. Just doesn't feel the same. Rick Danko, I think, was dead by that time. Anyway, I don't remember who all was not involved in that album. They brought together most of the remaining members of the band and recorded an album that received a fair bit of critical praise for a band doing it 30 years after their heyday. So, anyway, regardless, yeah, these last concerts of the classic lineup of the band, the end of an era, literally the end of an era. And they brought on stage, some of the greatest musicians to ever walk the face of the planet. They brought out like freaking everybody, Bob Dylan, Van Morrison, freaking Neil Diamond, who I love irrationally. I love Neil Diamond so freaking much. I'm basically a character on Saving Silverman. Anyway, and they brought out freaking Muddy Waters comes out. Freaking Lawrence Ferlinghetti gives a weird beatnik prayer at the beginning of the show because it's in San Francisco. And yeah, like, so there, and Joni Mitchell is there, and like every freaking buddy who mattered at that time period in music was there. Neil Young was there, and freaking like just so many. Like, even in starting to list people, I know I'm forgetting people who are vitally important that were there in the last waltz, which is an amazing, amazing concert. You should definitely watch it. If you enjoy music, you should watch it. It's incredible. So yeah, highly recommended. Highly, highly recommended. But yeah, so, you go on, here's my point in even bringing this up. You go on YouTube and you want to see a band play live. Not just the band, but like any band. Say you want to see, Weezer play live, which why wouldn't you? They put on great live shows. I've seen them many, many times. They didn't always put on great live shows. Arguably, I read reviews of the Pinkerton tour and I was like, I see your point. Like, Rivers spending the entire evening not looking at the audience and not acknowledging their existence. Yeah, it was a little rough as a fan. And, there have been times where, like, it just seems like they were intentionally messing with their own fan base just because they could. And so, yeah, like, that doesn't always feel great as a fan. So, take it as you will. Not always great to see them, but like, I love it. You're not going to convince me otherwise, because I have an irrational love of that band. Anyway, so yeah, you want to see a band like Weezer live, and what do you find most often? You find this shaky hand, someone holding up their cell phone during a concert, trying to capture that moment, not knowing that moment is uncapturable unless you are a professional with professional freaking equipment. Like, you're not gonna get it. Like, seriously, Scorsese directed The Last Waltz. Yeah, that's Scorsese. Directed the band's final concert. That's who directed it. Dang it. Because he directed it. Because he liked the band and he was like, yeah, I'll direct your final concert. It'll be amazing. And he did, and it was, and it is, and it remains the greatest concert film of all time. And that is, like, that's not just my opinion. That is the opinion of a lot of people. And so, yeah, I might not just be talking out my butt on this one. So, anyway, Yeah, you go on YouTube and you want to watch, good footage of a band, and you get bad footage of a band. Now, the person who captured the bad footage meant well, and they were probably trying their best. They weren't trying to ruin your day. They didn't want to hurt your feelings. You probably have a lot in common with them, as they are a fan of a band that you want to see live footage of, and they are a person who captured live footage of that band. And yet, like, the toxicity of comments, like, yes, I do get upset when I'm looking at terribly captured, shaky footage of a band that I want to see. But what I think is that, like, this is my literal actual thought when I see it is, oh, I feel sorry for the person who took this, because they worked so hard to get this footage, and the footage isn't that great, and they could have just stood there and watched and enjoyed the concert that they paid money to see. And it is the fault of our culture that anyone is like, no, I am a professional. I can do this. I can capture great footage, and not only can I, but I'm supposed to. Like, this generation is I am going to go kiss my children good night very soon, which means that this video will end. But this generation is the first generation. Like, my kids feel the need to have a, like, solid brand and a solid web presence, Like, when I was a kid, when I first started using the internet, someone that I went to high school with graduated and went to ASU. And ASU then, as they do now, they still do. So if you're an ASU student, just know you have web space. You can create a free website using ASU's web domain that is issued to you under your name, that you might not even know about. Totally exists and is for you, regardless of whether or not you know about it. So that's a fun thing. Anyway, so yeah, person had website, and our minds were blown. And what do they put on this website? They put on it inside jokes that were for us nerds in speech and debate. So, they were on the speech and debate team, and we had a bunch of inside jokes, and they just, like, made a web page that was mostly comprised of inside jokes for speech and debate nerds from a small high school in rural Arizona. So, like, a very niche market. But we loved it. We were amazed. Our minds were blown. We were like, oh my God, I can't believe that I'm accessing information that was left for me in a digital footprint by someone, that I went to high school with, who is now no longer in high school. They are sitting in a computer lab in Tempe, and they are writing code. They're, putting HTML together and making this exist so that I can look at it. Like, I was amazed, and I think rightfully so. And sometimes we just need to remember, like, okay, who even are we? What even is this? Like, sometimes you don't stop and think about the utter insanity of your own existence. Because when you stop to consider the utter insanity of your own existence, the odds against you existing in the first place, when you consider that, the choices that you make might change. Because, calling someone, and this is an exact quote, a dipshit on the internet becomes much less important when you consider the fact that we are all just, evolved apes on a spinning blue dot in the vast nothingness of the universe. And we are here for an almost infinitesimally small speck of time. Just a tiny tick of a clock's hand, and we are here, and another tick, and we are gone. And in that time, in between the two ticks of the clock, what do we do? Do we fill the world that we exist in? Do we fill it with hate? Do we fill it with, pointless squabbling over semantic differences? Because that is ultimately what this person had an issue with, was a semantic difference between a Let's Play and a review. It's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't ultimately matter. When you take the long view, it doesn't matter. Because both he and I will be dead someday. And more than likely, our existence will be just as meaningless. In the vast scheme of things, will be just as meaningless as that of a child who was here and gone very quickly because they died from the bubonic plague. Like, even should we grow to be adults with lengthy careers and, achievements of various types and people who look up to us and think that we're great and whatnot, even if we both achieve great things in our careers, more than likely, we will be gone and forgotten all too quickly. Gone as quickly as we came. And I am perfectly fine with that. I understand that that's the way in which the universe operates. But when you have that long view in mind, all of a sudden, does it matter? And remember, I am a terrible missionary for these ideas because I get insanely petty sometimes over the dumbest things. And I know that I do. And I know that it's stupid because I am capable of having that long view. And yet, sometimes I just completely fail to be any good at the things that I am purportedly good at. So yeah, if this machine that reads ones and zeros and turns them into a pastime that I can use to distract myself from the inevitability of my own death, if I use this machine and this program of ones and zeros to while away my hours before my inevitable demise, and someone uses their time to watch what I have done and say, boo, it's bad. Ultimately, what does it matter? It doesn't. It doesn't. Doesn't matter at all. Except for the only person it could possibly matter to is you, maybe some of the people around you. And if you do something in your short time in the world, my connection was lost. Sweet, that's good timing, because it's about time for me to go. Anyway, people, don't use your fleeting moment in the sun for dumb things. Like, there are an infinite number of dumb things that you could do. Try and do something that means anything. I mean, that means anything to you. Fie on what it means to anyone else. Who cares what it means to anyone else? I wish that we could eliminate so much of the toxicity that we have toward each other. We, going around commenting on each other's content as if it matters. It does not. The content doesn't matter. The person making the content doesn't matter. It is all going to crumble and be gone. The only thing that you can do is try to enjoy the time that you have. And if how you enjoy the time that you have is to, call people dipshits when they've created something, okay, I guess. I guess I don't bear you any ill will. That's fine. I guess you do you. I think it's a terrible use of time, personally. This is why I don't comment on a lot of YouTube videos. Even though, I could. I don't comment good or bad. There are so many YouTube videos that I watch that I love. Quite honestly, the YouTube videos I love the most are a certain British gentleman who just spends all of his time talking about vintage audio equipment. Oh, and by the way, this British gentleman who spends his time talking about vintage audio equipment, really cool stuff. And he seems like a really nice guy. Like, he seems like the kind of guy where if I met him, I'd be like, man, what a nice guy, And so, good for him. He also does a thing at the end of a lot of his videos where he'll just create a short little Muppet-style puppet video because he loves the Muppets and he has always wanted to be able to do that kind of puppetry. Now, is he great at it? No, he's not great at it. He's okay at it. And at sometimes not even that okay. And like, he's trying to make it funny and whatnot. And it's probably funny to him, but it's not always funny to everyone. And I watch those things and I'm like, this is him doing what he wants to do. And you should see some of the toxic comments that people make when this man is like, first of all, doing a public service of, for us audio nerds, putting out high quality content about audio formats that we didn't even know existed. It's like, did you know that you could record audio on baling wire? And it's like, no, I had no freaking idea you could record audio on baling wire. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but holy frick. And then, so he'll do that. And then at the end of the video, the last 2 minutes of the video is just him doing a puppet show that's like bonus content, that he's just putting out there because it makes him happy. And people are like, boo, the puppet show is bad and you should feel bad. It's like, this guy is doing a thing that what brought you here was probably the wire recorder or, the ridiculous competitor of the 8-track or the, black box recorder or the, police station recorder or whatnot. Like, these weird formats that he finds that are super cool. And I love his channel. Do I love his puppet shows? No, I could take him or leave him. I mean, sometimes I watch and I'm like, that's kind of funny. But most of the time, not really. But I recognize the fact that this is a man who has one hobby that he shares with me, which is audio equipment, and he is much better at it than I am. And so I watch his content because I'm like, ooh, jealous. And then the other hobby that he has is not a hobby that I share. Puppetry, Muppetry. And I'm good on him. He has more than one hobby. He probably doesn't care about my hobbies either, about my other hobbies that are not vintage audio equipment. It's fine. It's fine. He doesn't seem to give a crap about video games. Could you imagine? We're all just spending our time on this little blue speck, just, rolling out here in the middle of nowhere in outer space. And we're all going to be dead someday. So in that view of the universe and our own existence within it, should we spend any amount of time commenting negatively on each other's creative endeavors? Or should we, when we see something that is not our particular cup of tea, just say, not my cup of tea, and move on? Not even say it to the person who made it, but just say it to yourself and be like, this isn't what I like, and then move on. Because there are so many other options. There's never been a time with more content options than there are right now. And anyway, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, I question your sanity. Unless you're me, in which case I know what your, tenuous grasp on sanity is, and it seems about right. Anyway, regardless, people, this has been it for Riff and Craft with Rem Pemberton of the Clemson Pembertons. I need to go kiss my children and tell them good night. And so I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.